Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And I know, before we start this, that this will be a divisive topic, but it's just my take on it. And this is one where I really think we need to have a conversation in the comments, whether you're pro or anti, whatever we're going to discuss here, what we're about to discuss. Now, I know many people who watch this will be smokers because they tend to be the older people. And I'm not judging you for smoking because I can't. I am that worst beast. I'm an ex-smoker. I peaked at 40 cigarettes a day. I smoked for 30 odd years. I'm not judging anyone. But Rishi Sunak in his speech did talk about introducing a New Zealand style ban, which is that you raise the age at which you can legally buy cigarettes 1 year every year. It means anyone who is about 14 now will never ever be legally allowed to buy cigarettes. And I think that's possibly not a bad thing. I'm certainly not judging people who do smoke. Carry on. Don't care. Try and stop, but it's up to you. I'm not judging. However, it did strike me when I heard about it that there could be rather an amusing thing happening. And I'll talk about that when we get into the piece. But it's just one of those little things that flick into your head straight away. You go, well, yeah. But in principle, I agree with it. But we'll take a look at the piece, see what's going on. But it's something that the SNP may be looking at as well. And I think it's such a broad subject and so divisive, it certainly needs to be looked at. So we'll look at it. Here goes. So, SNP government consider matching Rishi Sunak's smoking ban amid growing pressure. The Prime Minister outlined plans to slowly increase the age people can buy cigarettes, essentially outlawing them for 14-year-olds nowadays, following in the footsteps of New Zealand. And of course, the smoking in New Zealand fell massively. Now, I mean, like I say, I'm not judging or anything. If you want to smoke. I don't care. I'm not one of those that, oh, you smoke because you must be a terrible person. Because that's what you get with some ex-smokers. I'm not that kind of ex-smoker. Although I can, hyper-aware, smell someone who's a smoker from 10 foot away, honestly, because you are so aware of it. But that was where I was. Now, I remember sitting, and I think it was in Lytham, and it was the ban in England. And now, obviously, New Year's Eve, I think, was the ban in Scotland the previous year, wasn't it? And I think, for the life of me, I think it was the 31st of July 2007. I know it was 2007. Anyway, we sat in the bar, and I was in Lytham St Anne's, that's right. And we were smoking all night, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, got up in the morning, drove home, and went into my local at lunchtime. And it was empty. I was like, where is everybody? I said, they're all out the back. Like, what do you mean they're all out the back? No, they're all out the back. So she'd done this this smoking area, my landlady there, landlady of the pub. She'd made this nice smoking area, you see, and it was lovely. It was out there. It was in the summer and everyone's out there. And they're all having a cigarette and it's brilliant. And where were all the non-smokers? Were they sitting in the pub in their nice clean air? No, they were out the back with all the smokers where the fun was. And so now, up and down the country, you've got all these pubs which are empty when all the smokers go out the back because all the non-smokers come out to be with them and have a drink and whatever. It's a weird setup. Anyway, that's a different thing. The Scottish Government is considering plans to follow Rishi Sunak in phasing out smoking after the Prime Minister revealed plans to follow New Zealand and raise the age for smoking by 1 year, every year in England. His proposal will go to the House of Commons vote, which will be a free one. And smoking is a devolved power, which is evidenced by the indoor ban being brought north of the border before the rest of the UK, which I just mentioned. It means SNP ministers will need to legislate for similar restrictions in Scotland. Now, here's the thought that went through my head. You could have, in a few years' time, an adult begging another adult to nip into the shop and buy 20 Bensons. Insert, cigarette of choice or whatever. But you can have someone who is an adult asking another adult to go and buy some cigarettes for him. Now, occasionally you'll get the old 14-year-olds going, boss pack of fags, mister, boss pack of fags. And, they sort of hang around the shop out like that. And they do. But when you're getting one grown-ass adult asking another grown-ass adult to come buy it. Now, what you've got a problem there is the 2010 Equality Act. Because it's illegal under that act to discriminate on grounds of age. And if you're saying certain people can buy this product and other people can't buy this product, you're discriminating on age. It may even break its own rules, which is very, very odd. I don't know how you're going to get around that. Is there an exception? Is there an exception for it? I don't know. It's a thing. You can't allow certain people of certain age to do something and ban someone else when you're all. I mean, I get it with driving because you're not mature enough and things like that, an age limit. But once you're an adult, you can't just say certain adults are entitled to that and certain adults can't, because that's discriminatory. And that is an odd thing. And as I say, then you've got the embarrassment of, say, a 30-year-old asking a 32-year-old, "You nip in the shop, gets back fags with you, mate." I mean, it's just embarrassing, isn't it? It's a bit weird. Anyway, also, imagine Scotland doesn't bring the law in. Then you're going to get people south of the border who can't buy cigarettes in England nipping across the border into Scotland to buy, give a sleeve of 200 ciggies and whatever. It's madness. It's just madness. Anyway, Mr. Sunak told the Conservative Party in conference in Manchester that the plans would mean a 14-year-old today could never legally be sold cigarettes. He said, "I propose that in future we raise the smoking age by 1 year every year. That means a 14-year-old today will never legally be sold a cigarette. And that they and their generation can grow up smoke-free. We know this works. When we raised the smoking age to 18, smoking prevalence dropped by 30% in that age group. And even more so in New Zealand. New Zealand now, virtually no smoking. There are the older sort of hardened ones. But I think there's only something like 12 places in the whole of New Zealand where you can actually physically buy cigarettes because of the licensing. And you have to have a note. You have to have a signed, you have basically a smoking permit where your doctor signs off that you are a smoker and that's it. And you have to present your smoking permit and go to one of these 12 places in the whole of New Zealand to buy your cigarettes. That's how strict it is. And of course, over time, it just won't be there. There'll just be no smoking at all in New Zealand. They're the hardest. They're the first and the hardest to do it. And I'm not saying necessarily we need to go that hard. And you certainly don't want to... How can I put it? If you've got elderly people who've smoked their whole life, the shock of coming off those cigarettes could kill them. I mean, more than the damage of the cigarette could do. It's there. That stress could actually end up killing them. So you've got to have a balance. But not getting young people onto them in the first place is absolutely correct. Anyway, this ban would also cover vapes, which the Scottish Government is exploring ways to ban the sales of in Scotland, due to an increase in young people buying them. Mr. Sunak added, "We have a chance to cut cancer deaths by a quarter, significantly ease those pressures and protect our children, and we should take it." And it's one of those few things where, yes, okay, I'm actually agreeing with him, but I don't want it to go too draconian. But if we can stop the young getting on, that's fine. But for heaven's sake, don't let smokers, don't punish existing smokers. The SNP ministers have previously outlined they want to raise the tobacco-free generation by 2034, and civil servants are currently working on refreshing the tobacco plan, but it's understood they are considering a similar aged phase approach. It rings true with their pledge to cut smoking to just 5% in adults by 2034. By 2034, you're talking 11 years away. A lot of the smokers, especially the elder ones now, ain't going to be there in 11 years. It's getting the young ones off before they start is key. I'm not going to go on about this. It's just people moaning about it and whatever. Smoking is a thing. We've got to accept it is, and people are addicted to it. Certainly help them if they want to come off, but don't punish people who wish to remain smokers. It's not their fault. This is an addictive product. It was sold to them as such, and they've got on it, and they can't get over it. It's very, very, and I have sympathy because it was really, really hard to give up. Climbing the walls hard. You are jonesing, and even now, 10 years later, I get a bit stressed, and even now, I could just pick one up and put one in my mouth. Even now, 10 years. And I will have that for the rest of my life. Don't smoke. Kids, don't smoke. Anyone young watching this, never, ever smoke. If you're a non-smoker, stay that way. And if you are a smoker, fine, keep smoking. Do what you want. Not judging. But I'm actually in agreement with the plan to raise it to keep the young off. And as long as you don't punish the older smokers, it's fine. But I do think it's going to be funny where you get a grown adult asking another grown adult, nip in the shop and get us 20 Bensons, mate. That's funny. Anyway, I'll stop there, round off and come up. Now, this is a subject I absolutely definitely want to see your views on, because I have a vested interest in it and being, a smoker for so many years. Are you for this ban? Are you for raising the age 1 year at a time? Do you think it's an imposition? Or do you think it should go further? I mean, it's... it's a difficult subject. You know, I've laid out my plan. I think, yes, stopping them getting on is the first thing. Raise that age 1 year, but every year, that's fine. Don't punish the existing smokers. And any smokers who want to get off, give them help. And then that's it. And then get it down. Yes, you're going to lose a lot of money from income. However, the world will be a better place in terms of health. You'll die of something else, of course, but, you know, maybe not quite as soon. Anyway, I shall finish there. I shall stop, and thank you very much for watching. So if you like what you're seeing here on the channel, do please hit the subscribe button, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video, and until next time, stay safe, stay well, and absolutely leave a comment. I'd like to have the conversation on this one. Cheers.